They say Halloween brings out people's true selves, but I think that's bullshit. Halloween just gives people an excuse to be what they already are underneath. Take my wife Alicia, for instance. Standing there in her skin-tight Catwoman costume, laughing a little too loudly at some jackass's joke while her hand lingers on his muscled forearm. The costume fits her perfectly, sleek, predatory, and designed to make every man in the room forget he's married. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name's Greg Martinez, and I manage a chain restaurant downtown. Nothing glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps food on our table. Tonight, I'm dressed as Batman. Seemed fitting when Alicia suggested we go as a couple. Now, watching her flirt with half the party while I stand here holding 2 beers, I'm wondering if she picked Catwoman because she knew Batman and Catwoman never actually end up together. Greg! There you are, buddy. Richard Thompson bounds over, slightly drunk and wearing what looks like a vampire costume from a discount store. Richard's been my friend since college, back when we both thought we'd conquer the world. Now he sells insurance and throws elaborate Halloween parties in his suburban McMansion. Great party, Rich, I say, handing him one of the beers since Alicia's clearly too busy to notice I got her one. Really outdid yourself this year. Thanks, man. Hey, your wife looks incredible tonight. That costume is just... He makes a chef's kiss gesture, then catches my expression. I mean, you know, in a respectful way. Yeah, I know. I take a long pull of my beer, watching Alicia throw her head back in exaggerated laughter. The guy she's talking to is dressed as Tarzan, because of course he is. All bulging muscles and fake tan, probably spends more on protein powder than I make in a month. I recognize him from around town. Dominic something. Works at the factory, drives a lifted truck with truck nuts hanging from the hitch. So what's the deal with the superhero debate over there? I nod toward a group of guys arguing loudly near the kitchen island. Oh, that. Richard rolls his eyes. Started with whether Batman could beat Superman, devolved into grown men screaming about comic book physics. You know how it is. I do know. There's something pathetic about watching middle-aged guys in costumes argue about fictional characters. But then again, here I am dressed as Batman, so maybe I don't have room to judge. The party's in full swing now. Richard's house is packed with neighbors, co-workers, and friends from various social circles. Everyone's had just enough to drink to get loose, but not sloppy yet. The decorations are elaborate. Fake spiderwebs, motion-activated skeletons, a fog machine that keeps making the living room look like a low-budget horror movie. I spot Susie Chen near the punch bowl, also dressed as Catwoman, because apparently every woman over 30 thinks she can pull off the Michelle Pfeiffer look. Susie's Alicia's best friend and confidant, the kind of woman who smiles to your face while mentally cataloging every flaw in your marriage. She sees me looking and waves with the enthusiasm of someone who's been hitting the spiked punch hard. Greg, love the costume. You and Alicia look so cute together. Cute. Right. I force a smile and wave back, then return to watching my wife work the room like she's campaigning for something. She's moved on from Tarzan and is now talking to a group that includes the Hendersons from down the street and some guy I don't recognize dressed as a pirate. The thing about watching your wife at parties is that you start to notice patterns. The way she touches people when she talks, a hand on the arm, a playful swat, fingers that linger just a beat too long. The way she positions herself to show off her figure, how she bites her lower lip when she's trying to be charming. I used to think she was just naturally social, the kind of person who lights up a room. Now I'm wondering if there's something more calculated about it. Earth to Greg. Richard's voice snaps me out of my thoughts. You okay, man? You look like you're planning someone's murder. Just thinking, I say. Hey, who's the Tarzan guy? I've seen him around but don't think we've met. That's Dominic Reeves, works over at the packaging plant. Nice enough guy, I guess. Bit of a gym rat. Why? Just curious. I watch as Dominic says something that makes Alicia laugh again. This time she actually touches his chest, right over his heart. My jaw clenches involuntarily. The party continues to swirl around us. Someone's put on a Halloween playlist, and Monster Mash is competing with conversation and laughter. A woman dressed as a witch is telling an increasingly dirty joke to a captive audience near the fireplace. Two guys in zombie costumes are doing shots in the kitchen, and I can already tell they're going to be problems later. I decide to mingle, partly to be social, and partly to keep an eye on Alicia without looking like a stalker. I make the rounds, compliment Mrs. Henderson on her elaborate fairy costume, listen to Bob from accounting, explain his zombie businessman concept, nod along as someone's cousin describes his home brewery setup in excruciating detail. But my attention keeps drifting back to Alicia. She's magnetic tonight, drawing people into her orbit with that laugh, those eyes, the way she moves in that costume. Part of me is proud. She's beautiful, charming, mine. But another part, a part that's been growing stronger lately, wonders if I'm the only one who thinks of her as mine. The superhero argument has escalated. Someone's pulled out their phone to look up comic book facts, and voices are getting louder. I drift over, partly for the entertainment, and partly because it's a good vantage point to watch the rest of the party. I'm telling you, Batman wins because he's prepared for everything, argues a guy dressed as Green Lantern. He's got contingency plans for contingency plans. That's such bullshit, counters a Superman. Superman could just fly into space and laser vision Batman from orbit. Game over. But what about the kryptonite? Green Lantern shoots back. Batman always has kryptonite. I'm about to jump in with my own opinion when I notice Alicia and Dominic have moved toward the kitchen. They're not exactly hiding, but they're definitely seeking more privacy. I watch as they lean against the counter, heads close together, talking in low voices that I can't hear over the party noise. Something cold settles in my stomach. It's not just the proximity or the body language, though both are definitely sending signals. It's the way Alicia keeps glancing around, like she's making sure no one's watching. The way Dominic's hand hovers near her waist, not quite touching, but ready to. Greg, you still with us, buddy? I realize Green Lantern is talking to me, waiting for my input on the great superhero debate. The whole group is looking at me expectantly. Sorry, what was the question? Batman versus Superman. Who wins? I look back toward the kitchen. Alicia's laughing at something Dominic said, her hand now definitely on his arm. As I watch, he leans in closer, his lips almost touching her ear as he whispers something that makes her blush. Batman, I say, not taking my eyes off them. Batman wins because he knows his enemies. He studies them, learns their weaknesses, and when the time comes, he strikes where it hurts most. The group murmurs approval, but I'm not really talking to them anymore. I'm talking to myself, making a promise I don't even fully understand yet. The kitchen conversation between my wife and Tarzan is getting more intimate by the minute. She's playing with her hair now, twirling it around her finger the way she used to when we were dating. He's moved closer, close enough that anyone watching would know this isn't just friendly conversation. I excuse myself from the superhero debate and start moving toward them, but before I can get close enough to hear anything, Susie intercepts me. Greg, there you are. I was just telling everyone about your restaurant. You know, Dominic was asking about good places to take a date. The way she says it, with that knowing smile, sends a chill through me. She's not just making conversation. She's delivering a message, letting me know that she knows, that maybe everyone knows, that my wife is shopping around and I'm the last to figure it out. Is that right? I manage to keep my voice level. Well, we do have a nice romantic atmosphere. Perfect for special occasions. Susie's smile gets wider. Oh, I'm sure it is. Alicia's always talking about how much work you put into that place, how you're there all the time, working late, focusing on the business. The implication hangs in the air like smoke from Richard's fog machine. While I'm working late, building our future, Alicia's here, available, lonely, looking for attention from guys like Dominic who have time to hit the gym and charm other men's wives. "Excuse me," I say to Susie, and push through the crowd toward the kitchen. But when I get there, they're gone. I scan the room, finally spotting them through the sliding glass door that leads to Richard's back deck. They're outside now, away from the noise and the crowd. Alicia's wrapped her arms around herself against the October chill, and Dominic's standing close enough to share body heat. I'm about to go outside when Richard appears at my elbow. "Hey man, can you help me with something in the garage? The fog machine's acting up and I need another pair of hands. Actually, I was just... Come on, it'll just take a minute. You know I'm hopeless with mechanical stuff." I look back toward the deck, but now I can't see them through the crowd. Maybe they went around to the side yard, or maybe they came back inside through another door. Either way, Richard's tugging on my sleeve and being a good friend means helping with the fog machine, even when your wife might be outside getting cozy with some muscle-bound factory worker. The garage is cold and cluttered with Halloween decorations, lawn equipment, and the detritus of suburban life. The fog machine is indeed acting up, coughing and sputtering instead of producing the smooth, atmospheric effect Richard wants. "I think it's clogged," I say, examining the machine. "When's the last time you cleaned it?" "Cleaned it?" Richard looks at me like I suggested he perform surgery. "You're supposed to clean these things?" Despite everything, I laugh. This is why I like Richard. He throws great parties but has no idea how anything actually works. We spend the next 15 minutes taking apart the fog machine, cleaning out the residue, and putting it back together. By the time we're done, my Batman costume is dusty and my hands smell like fog machine fluid. "You're a lifesaver," Richard says as we test the machine, and it produces a perfect stream of atmospheric fog. Sarah would have killed me if this thing didn't work for the party photos. No problem, that's what friends are for. We head back inside, and I immediately scan the room for Alicia. She's back in the living room talking to a group of women near the fireplace. Her cheeks are flushed, from the cold air outside or something else, I can't tell. Dominic is across the room, getting another beer from the kitchen. I check my watch. It's almost 10:30, and the party's hitting that sweet spot where everyone's loose and happy, but not yet sloppy drunk. This is usually my favorite part of the evening, when the conversations get more interesting and people start revealing more than they intended. I grab a fresh beer and join Alicia's group. She looks up as I approach, and for just a second, I see something in her eyes. Guilt, maybe, or surprise. But it's gone so quickly I might have imagined it. "There's my handsome Batman," she says, sliding her arm around my waist. The gesture feels performative, like she's marking territory or playing a role. "We were just talking about the Hendersons' renovation. Did you know they're putting in a hot tub?" The conversation continues around us. Home improvements, property values, whose kids are doing what in school. Normal suburban party talk. But I'm hyper-aware of Alicia beside me, the way she keeps glancing around the room, how her attention seems divided even when she's actively participating in the conversation. Around 11, people start to get restless. The zombie guys from earlier are now completely hammered and telling increasingly loud stories about their college days. Someone's cranked up the music, and a few couples have started dancing in Richard's living room. The party's entering its final phase. Some people will leave soon, others will stay until dawn. I'm talking to Bob from accounting about supply chain issues when I notice Alicia's no longer beside me. I scan the room and spot her heading toward the hallway that leads to Richard's guest bathroom. A few seconds later, I see Dominic heading in the same direction. Maybe it's innocent. Maybe they both just need to use the bathroom. Maybe I'm being paranoid and suspicious and turning into the kind of husband I always swore I'd never become. But something in my gut tells me otherwise. I excuse myself from Bob's riveting discourse on inventory management and casually make my way toward the hallway. It's darker here, away from the main party lights, and quieter. I can hear the bass line from the music in the living room, muffled conversation, the occasional burst of laughter. And then I hear voices from the kitchen. Richard's kitchen has a back entrance that connects to this hallway. Low voices, intimate and urgent. "Can't keep doing this," Alicia's voice, barely above a whisper. "Why not?" Dominic's voice, deeper, more confident. "It's not like he pays attention anyway. Guy's always at work." "That's not fair. Greg works hard for us." "For you? Or for himself? When's the last time he really looked at you, Allie? I mean, really looked?" There's a pause, and I find myself holding my breath. "You look at me," Alicia says, and there's something in her voice I haven't heard in years. Vulnerability. Need. "I see you," Dominic replies. "All of you. Not just the wife, not just the restaurant managers plus one. You." I should walk away. I should go back to the party, grab another beer, pretend I never heard this conversation. But I can't move. I'm frozen in the hallway, listening to my marriage dissolve in real time. "This is crazy," Alicia whispers. "We're at a party. Greg's here. Everyone's here." "So? Makes it more exciting, doesn't it?" I hear movement, fabric rustling, and then a sound. Alicia's soft intake of breath, the kind she makes when someone touches her in just the right way. "Dominic, tell me you don't want this." Another pause, longer this time. And then, so quietly, I almost miss it. "I want this." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stumble backward, my shoulder hitting the wall hard enough to rattle a framed photo of Richard's family vacation. The sound seems impossibly loud in the quiet hallway. The voices in the kitchen stop abruptly. I turn and walk quickly back toward the party, my heart hammering against my ribs. Behind me, I hear the kitchen door open. Footsteps, hushed conversation. But I don't look back. I can't. Instead, I grab the nearest beer, doesn't matter whose it is, and drain half of it in one long pull. The alcohol burns, but not as much as the realization that my wife, my beautiful, charming, magnetic wife, wants someone else. And worse than that, she's probably going to get him. The party continues around me, but everything feels different now. Colors seem sharper, sounds more distinct, like someone adjusted the contrast on reality. I watch Alicia emerge from the hallway, smoothing down her Catwoman costume and running her fingers through her hair. A minute later, Dominic appears, casual as anything, heading straight for the beer cooler. They don't look at each other. They don't need to. There's an energy between them now, a shared secret that crackles across the room like electricity. I see it in the way Alicia's lips curve into a small smile when she thinks no one's looking. I see it in how Dominic's eyes find her, even when he's talking to someone else. "Greg, there you are." Susie appears at my elbow, her Catwoman costume slightly askew, and her words a little slurred. "I've been looking everywhere for you. We need to settle something." "What's that?" "Linda Henderson says you make the best margaritas in town, but I told her that's impossible because I've never had your margaritas. So when are you going to invite us over for a proper party?" The question feels like it's coming from underwater. I blink, trying to focus on Susie's face, trying to process normal social interaction when my world just shifted on its axis. "Sure," I hear myself say. "Anytime." "Wonderful. I'll hold you to that." She leans closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Between you and me, I think Alicia could use a fun night out. She's been so restless lately. You know how women get." "No, I think. I don't know how women get. Apparently, I don't know anything about women at all." "Restless how?" Susie's smile turns predatory. "Oh, you know, bored, looking for excitement, adventure." She pauses, letting the words sink in. "Sometimes a woman needs to feel alive again, you know? Desired, appreciated." Each word is a calculated strike, designed to hurt. I realize that Susie isn't just Alicia's friend. She's her accomplice, maybe even her wing woman. "I appreciate my wife," I say carefully. "Of course you do. But appreciation and desire aren't the same thing, are they? When's the last time you surprised her? Really surprised her? Before I can answer, she's drifted away, leaving me standing alone with my beer and my growing certainty that everyone at this party knows something I'm only just figuring out. I spot Richard across the room and make my way over. If anyone's going to give me straight answers, it's him. We've been friends too long for bullshit. Rich, can I ask you something? Sure, man. What's up? I glance around, making sure we're not overheard. Have you noticed anything off about Alicia lately? Richard's expression shifts, becomes guarded. Off how? I don't know. Different. Like she's... I struggle for the right words. Like she's looking for something. Greg. Richard sets down his beer and looks me directly in the eyes. Are you asking me if I think your wife is cheating on you? The word hangs between us like a curse. Cheating. Such an ugly, simple word for something so complicated and devastating. I'm asking if you've seen anything I should know about. Richard is quiet for a long moment, wrestling with something. Finally, he sighs. Look, man, I don't like getting in the middle of this stuff, but you're my friend, and if I were in your position, I'd want to know. My stomach drops. Know what? They've been talking. A lot. Tonight, at my barbecue last month, at the Hendersons' anniversary party. Always finding reasons to end up in conversation, you know? Talking isn't cheating. No, it's not, but the way they talk... He shakes his head. It's not friendly neighbor stuff, Greg. There's something else there. As if summoned by our conversation, Alicia appears beside us, sliding her arm through mine with practiced ease. What are you boys talking about so seriously? She asks, her voice bright and innocent. Just boring guy stuff, Richard says quickly. Work, sports, you know. Well, I'm stealing Greg for a dance. They're playing our song. Our song. I listen to the music. It's Somebody to Love by Queen. We danced to it at our wedding, but calling it our song is generous. We've probably danced to it twice in the 8 years since. But I let her lead me to the makeshift dance floor in Richard's living room, where several other couples are swaying to the music. She puts her arms around my neck, and I rest my hands on her waist, just like we're supposed to, just like a happily married couple. Having fun? She asks, looking up at me with those green eyes that first caught my attention in college. Sure, you? She leans closer, pressing against me. It's nice to get out, isn't it? We should do this more often. Do what? Go to parties? Everything. Go out, see people, have adventures. There's that word again, adventure. We've gotten so domestic, so routine. Don't you miss the excitement of not knowing what might happen? Over her shoulder, I can see Dominic watching us dance. His expression is unreadable, but there's something possessive in the way he's looking at her, like he's waiting his turn. I like our routine, I say. I like knowing what to expect. Do you? She tilts her head, studying my face. Sometimes I wonder if you even see me anymore, Greg. Really see me. It's almost exactly what I heard her say to Dominic in the kitchen. The same words, the same tone. I wonder if she practiced this conversation, if she's testing me somehow. I see you. Do you? What am I thinking right now? I look down at her face, trying to read the expression there, but all I can think about is what I heard in the kitchen, the breathless way she said, I want this, to another man. I don't know, I admit. She smiles, but it's sad. That's what I thought. The song ends, and she steps away from me. For a moment, we just stand there looking at each other while other couples continue dancing around us. I'm going to get some air, she says finally. Want company? No, that's okay. I just need a minute to myself. She heads toward the sliding door that leads to Richard's deck. I watch her go, then notice Dominic setting down his beer and casually following the same path. Not immediately. He waits a few minutes, talks to someone else first, makes it look natural. But he's definitely going after her. This time, I'm not letting Richard's fog machine or social obligations stop me. I wait another minute, then follow them outside. The deck is dimly lit by string lights Richard hung for the party. Most of the guests are inside where it's warm, leaving the outdoor space relatively private. I can see Alicia and Dominic at the far end of the deck, silhouetted against the lights from the neighbor's house. They're not touching, but they're standing close. Too close for casual conversation. As I watch, Dominic reaches out and brushes something from Alicia's cheek, a piece of hair maybe, or just an excuse to touch her face. She doesn't pull away. I should announce myself, walk over there and join the conversation like any normal husband would. Instead, I stay in the shadows by the door, straining to hear their voices over the party noise from inside. "Can't keep pretending," Dominic is saying. "I'm not pretending anything. Aren't you? Come on, Allie, we both know what this is." "Do we? Because I'm confused as hell." "You're not confused. You're scared. There's a difference." Alicia wraps her arms around herself, shivering in the cold air. "Of course I'm scared. I'm married, Dom. This is my life we're talking about." "Is it the life you want?" The question hangs in the air between them. I find myself holding my breath, waiting for her answer. "I don't know," she whispers. "I thought I did, but lately?" "Lately what?" "Lately I feel like I'm disappearing. Like I'm just Greg's wife, not myself." "Do you know what that's like?" "You don't have to disappear, not with me." He steps closer, and now they are touching. His hands on her arms, her palms flat against his chest. I can see her face in profile, the way she's looking up at him like he's offering her something she desperately needs. "This is crazy," she breathes. "Maybe, but crazy isn't always wrong." And then he kisses her. It's not a friendly peck or an accidental brush of lips. It's a real kiss, deep and hungry and full of promise. She melts into it, her arms going around his neck, her body pressing against his, like she's been waiting for this moment all her life. I watch my wife kiss another man, and something inside me breaks, not cleanly, like a bone snapping, but messily, like glass shattering. Sharp pieces of anger and hurt and betrayal cutting me from the inside. I should do something, confront them, yell, make a scene. But I'm frozen, trapped in this moment of horrible clarity. This is real. This is happening. My marriage is ending on Richard's back deck, while Thriller plays inside and people laugh about costume contests and drink spiked punch. They break apart, breathing hard. Alicia looks dazed, like she's just woken up from a dream. "Oh God," she whispers. "Oh God, what are we doing?" "What we should have done weeks ago. This is wrong. Greg is inside, my friends are here, everyone." "Everyone what?" "Everyone already knows how you feel, Allie. It's written all over your face every time you look at him." "Look at who?" "Your husband. Every time you look at Greg, you look disappointed, like you're settling for something less than what you deserve." The words hit me like physical blows. Is that true? Do I disappoint her so completely that everyone can see it? "That's not—" She starts to protest, then stops. "It's not that simple." "It is that simple. You're not happy. I make you happy. What else matters?" "Everything else matters. My marriage, my commitments, the life I've built." "The life you've built, or the life you've settled for?" Before she can answer, the sliding door opens and someone comes outside, one of the zombie guys, looking for a quiet place to make a phone call. Alicia and Dominic spring apart like teenagers caught by their parents. "Oh, sorry," zombie guy slurs. "Didn't mean to interrupt." "You're not interrupting anything," Alicia says quickly. "We were just getting some air." But her voice is shaky, and her lipstick is smeared, and anyone with eyes can see exactly what they interrupted. Zombie guy makes his phone call while Alicia and Dominic stand on opposite sides of the deck, not looking at each other. When he's done, all three of them head back inside together. I slip back into the party ahead of them, my mind racing. What I saw changes everything. This isn't just flirtation or emotional cheating. They've crossed a line. And from the sound of their conversation, they're planning to cross more lines soon. The party continues around me, but I feel like I'm watching it through glass. People are laughing, dancing, having a good time, while my world crumbles in slow motion. I grab another beer and position myself where I can watch Alicia without being obvious about it. She's rejoined the group of women by the fireplace, but she keeps touching her lips, like she can still feel Dominic's kiss. Her cheeks are flushed, and there's an energy about her that wasn't there before, like she's been plugged into an electrical current. Dominic has gone back to the kitchen, but I can see him watching her too. They're trying to be subtle, but now that I know what to look for, their connection is obvious. The way they orbit each other without getting too close. The way they both keep checking to see where I am. Greg! Susie appears beside me again, her smile wider and more malicious than before. You look like you've seen a ghost. Everything okay? Fine, I manage. Are you sure? You look a little tense. She knows. I can see it in her eyes, hear it in her voice. She knows exactly what just happened on that deck, and she's enjoying my pain. Just tired, I say. Long week at work. Oh, work. Yes, Alicia mentioned you've been putting in a lot of hours lately. Staying late, coming in early, very dedicated. I'm building something. For our future. Of course you are. But you know what they say about all work and no play. She doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't need to. I excuse myself and head for the bathroom, partly because I need a minute alone and partly because I want to splash cold water on my face and try to think clearly. But as I'm walking down the hallway, I hear voices from Richard's study. The door is slightly ajar, and I can see Alicia inside, talking on her phone. I know, she's saying, but it's complicated. No, he doesn't suspect anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. She pauses, listening to whoever's on the other end. It's not that simple, Mom. I can't just... What? No, I haven't talked to a lawyer. Maybe. I don't know. Can we discuss this later? I'm at a party. Another pause. Yes, I know what Dad would say, but Dad's been gone for 3 years, and I have to live my own life. Okay. I'll call you tomorrow. Love you too. She hangs up and stands there for a moment, staring at her phone. Then she notices me in the doorway. Greg, you scared me. How long have you been standing there? Just got here. Everything okay? Fine. Just checking in with Mom. You know how she worries. But I heard enough to know she wasn't just checking in. She was getting advice about her marriage, about me, and the mention of a lawyer sends ice through my veins. Ready to head home soon? I ask, trying to keep my voice casual. Actually, I was thinking we could stay a little longer. I'm having fun, aren't you? Fun. Right. Watching your wife fall in love with someone else is a real blast. Sure, I say. Whatever you want. She smiles and kisses my cheek, a perfunctory gesture that feels like a betrayal after what I witnessed on the deck. You're the best, Greg. I'll just be a few more minutes. She leaves me standing in Richard's study, surrounded by books and family photos and the debris of a normal, happy life. I think about the phone call, about lawyers and complications and living her own life. I think about the kiss I witnessed, about the way she melted into Dominic's arms like she'd been waiting for him her whole life. And I realize that my marriage isn't just ending, it's already over. I'm just the last one to know. The party is winding down when I finally work up the courage to do something. Most of the older couples have left, and the remaining guests are either die-hard partiers or too drunk to drive. Richard's house has that end-of-party feel. Empty bottles everywhere, decorations askew, someone passed out on the couch. I find Alicia in the kitchen, helping Richard clean up. She's laughing at something he said, looking relaxed and happy in a way she hasn't looked at home in months. Ready to go? I ask. Oh, I didn't see you there. She glances around the kitchen, and I notice Dominic is nowhere to be seen. Sure, just let me grab my purse. We say our goodbyes, thank Richard for the party, and head out to my car. The night air is cold and sharp, cutting through the fog of alcohol and revelation. Alicia shivers and pulls her coat tighter around her Catwoman costume. The drive home is quiet. She stares out the window while I navigate the familiar streets of our neighborhood, both of us lost in our own thoughts. But as we pull into our driveway, she finally speaks. Greg, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you happy? I mean, really happy with our life? The question catches me off guard. After everything I witnessed tonight, she's asking if I'm happy. I thought I was, I say carefully. Are you? She's quiet for a long moment, staring at our house. The house we bought together, painted together, planned to grow old in together. I don't know, she whispers. I thought I was too, but lately I feel like we're just going through the motions, like we're roommates instead of lovers. We could work on that. Could we? When? Between your 60-hour weeks and my book club and all the other things we use to avoid actually talking to each other? She's not wrong. We have been avoiding each other, filling our lives with work and obligations and social events instead of dealing with whatever's been growing between us. But knowing she's right doesn't make it hurt less. So what do you want to do about it? I ask. She turns to look at me, and in the dim light from our porch, I can see tears in her eyes. I don't know, she says again. I honestly don't know. We sit in the car for another minute, the engine ticking as it cools, both of us afraid to go inside and continue this conversation. Finally, Alicia opens her door. I'm tired, she says. Can we talk about this tomorrow? But I know we won't. Tomorrow she'll find reasons to be busy, and I'll let her, and we'll go back to being polite strangers who share a mortgage and a last name. The only difference is that now I know she's in love with someone else. I watch her walk to the front door, her heels clicking on the concrete, and I make a decision. I'm not going to pretend anymore. I'm not going to smile and nod and act like everything's fine while my wife plans her exit strategy. If she wants a divorce, she can have one, but she's not going to get to play the victim, and she's not going to get to rewrite history to make me the villain. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tonight was the last night I play the fool. But first, I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with, and that means doing something I never thought I'd do, investigating my own wife. I don't sleep that night. I lie in bed next to Alicia, listening to her breathe, watching the digital clock count down the hours until dawn. She sleeps peacefully, like someone without a care in the world, while I stare at the ceiling and replay every moment from the party. The kiss, the phone call about lawyers, the way she looked at Dominic like he was offering her salvation. Around 5 a.m., I give up on sleep and head to the kitchen to make coffee. My phone has 3 missed texts, all from numbers I don't recognize. Probably drunk party guests who got my number mixed up with someone else's. Saw your wife getting cozy with Tarzan last night. Thought you should know. The second message is worse. Dude, everyone's talking about it. Check Facebook. The third is just a link. With shaking hands, I click the link. It takes me to a Facebook post in our neighborhood group, a page where people usually complain about noise ordinances and share photos of lost cats. But this post is different. It's a photo from the party, taken through Richard's sliding glass door. The image is grainy and dark, but clear enough to see 2 figures on the deck in what's obviously an intimate embrace. The caption reads, "When you think nobody's watching. Halloween drama. Caught in the act." The post has 37 likes and 15 comments, all posted in the last few hours. I scroll through them, each one a knife twist in my chest. OMG, is that Alicia Martinez? Poor Greg. Someone should tell him. I knew something was going on between those two. This is why I don't go to neighborhood parties anymore. Too much drama. She can do better than both of them, TBH. I set the phone down with trembling hands and stare out the kitchen window at our perfectly manicured suburban street. Somewhere out there, 37 people, neighbors, friends, acquaintances, are starting their Saturday morning knowing that my wife is cheating on me, and I'm apparently the last to find out. The coffee maker beeps, but I've lost my appetite for caffeine. Instead, I grab my keys and head for the garage. I need to drive, to move, to do something other than sit in this house and wait for Alicia to wake up and pretend everything is normal. I end up at my mother's house across town. Mom lives in the same small ranch she raised me in, stubbornly independent at 72 and sharp as ever. She answers the door in her bathrobe, takes one look at my face, and steps aside to let me in. "Coffee's on," she says without preamble. "You look like hell." "Thanks, Mom. Really, what I needed to hear." "What you need to hear is that whatever's got you looking like a kicked dog at 6 in the morning probably isn't the end of the world. But first, coffee." We sit at her kitchen table, the same one where she helped me with homework and lectured me about responsibility and listened to me complain about teenage heartbreak. It feels surreal to be here now, dealing with adult heartbreak that makes those teenage problems seem quaint. "So," she says, settling into her chair with her own mug, "what did she do?" "What makes you think Alicia did something?" Mom gives me the look she perfected when I was 12 and trying to lie about breaking her favorite vase. "Gregory, I've been married and divorced twice. I know what a man looks like when his wife's been stepping out. So what did she do, and how did you find out?" I tell her everything. The party, the overheard conversations, the kiss on the deck, the Facebook post that's probably making the rounds of every coffee shop and book club in town by now. Mom listens without interrupting, her face getting grimmer with each detail. "Well," she says when I'm done, "that's a hell of a thing." "What do I do, Mom?" "What do you want to do?" "I want to pretend none of this happened. I want to go back to last week when I thought we were just going through a rough patch." "But you can't." "No, I can't." She reaches across the table and pats my hand, the same gesture she used to comfort me when I was small and the world seemed too big and scary. "You know what your father would have said?" "Dad died when I was in college, but I can guess. He was a practical man, a mechanic who believed in fixing things when they could be fixed and replacing them when they couldn't." "He'd say some things can't be repaired." "He'd say that, yes. But he'd also say you don't throw away 8 years of marriage without a fight. Question is, what kind of fight are you willing to have?" Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. A text from Alicia. "Where are you? We need to talk." "She knows," I tell Mom, showing her the message. "Course she knows. Probably got the same wake-up call you did. Social media's a bitch that way." I stare at the phone, trying to decide how to respond. Part of me wants to ignore her, to let her wonder and worry the way I did all night. But the bigger part of me just wants this over with. "I should go home." "You should. But Greg?" Mom catches my arm as I stand up. "Remember that you didn't do anything wrong here. Don't let her make you feel like you did." The drive home feels like driving to my own execution. I can see Alicia through the kitchen window as I pull into the driveway, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. She must have seen the Facebook post too, must know that our private drama is now public entertainment. She meets me at the door, still in her pajamas, her hair uncombed and her eyes red from crying. "We need to talk," she says. "Yeah, we do." We sit in the living room, on opposite ends of the couch we picked out together 3 years ago. The distance between us feels like miles. "I suppose you saw the post," she says, "along with half the neighborhood, apparently." "Greg, I can explain." "Can you? Because from where I'm sitting it looks pretty self-explanatory." She flinches like I've slapped her. Good. Let her feel a fraction of what I felt watching her kiss another man. "It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You're having an affair." "I'm not." We kissed once, and it was a mistake, a stupid, drunken mistake. What about all the conversations? The flirting? The way you've been pulling away from me for months? She starts to answer, then stops. How long have you known? I figured it out last night, but apparently everyone else has known for weeks. The accusation hits home. She looks down at her hands, tears starting to fall. I didn't mean for this to happen. But it did happen, and now I need to know. What do you want, Alicia? Do you want to work on our marriage, or do you want out? The question hangs between us like a loaded gun. She's quiet for so long I start to think she won't answer. I don't know, she finally whispers. I'm so confused, Greg. I love you, but you love him too. I don't know if it's love. It's excitement. It's feeling alive again. It's being seen as more than just a wife. I see you as more than just a wife. Do you? When's the last time you really looked at me? Not just glanced up from your phone or your laptop, but really looked at me and saw me. The question stops me cold because I can't answer it. When was the last time? Last week? Last month? I honestly don't remember. I work hard for us, I say instead. Everything I do is for our future. But what about our present? What about right now? Right now you're in love with someone else. She starts crying harder, and despite everything, I want to comfort her. 8 years of marriage don't disappear overnight, even when your wife betrays you in front of the entire neighborhood. I don't know what to do. She sobs. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me. And not just with the affair, with the lying, the sneaking around, the making me look like a fool in front of everyone we know. I know, and I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, Alicia. Sorry doesn't make that Facebook post disappear or stop people from talking about us at the grocery store. My phone buzzes. Another text, this time from Richard. Dude, I'm so sorry. Had no idea someone was taking pictures. Call me. Then another from my assistant manager at the restaurant. Saw the news, you okay, boss? And another from a number I don't recognize. Your wife's a slut. I show Alicia the last message. Her face goes white. Oh God, Greg, I'm so sorry. I never wanted this to become public. Well, it is public. Our marriage is now the neighborhood entertainment, and I get to go to work on Monday knowing that everyone's either pitying me or laughing at me. What do you want me to do? How do I fix this? I don't know if you can fix this. We sit in silence for a while, both of us crying now, both of us mourning the loss of something that used to be good. Finally, Alicia speaks. Maybe we should take a break. Give each other some space to think. A break, right. So you can figure out if you want to be with him without the inconvenience of a husband. That's exactly what it is. You want permission to explore this thing with Dominic without technically being a cheater. I just think some time apart might help us both figure out what we want. I already know what I want. I want my wife back, but she's sitting on a deck somewhere kissing another man, so I guess that's not an option. The cruelty in my voice surprises both of us. Alicia recoils like I've hit her, and maybe I have in a way. But I'm tired of being the understanding husband, the one who takes responsibility for her unhappiness and makes excuses for her behavior. Fine, she says, standing up. I'll pack a bag and stay at Susie's for a few days. Of course you will. Run to your accomplice. Susie didn't do anything wrong. Susie knew about the affair and said nothing. Susie's been covering for you and probably encouraging you. So yeah, she did something wrong. Alicia starts to argue, then seems to realize there's no point. She goes upstairs to pack, and I sit alone in our living room, listening to drawers opening and closing, hangers scraping against the closet rod, the sounds of my marriage being dismantled one piece of clothing at a time. She comes back downstairs 20 minutes later with a suitcase and her makeup bag. She looks small and vulnerable, nothing like the confident woman who was flirting with Dominic last night. I'll call you in a few days, she says. when we've both had time to think. Sure. She starts toward the door, then turns back. Greg, for what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't change anything. After she leaves, I sit in the silence of our empty house and try to figure out what comes next. My phone keeps buzzing with messages, some supportive, some nosy, some cruel. I turn it off and pour myself a drink, even though it's not even noon. The Facebook post has been shared 6 times now. 6 times. Our private humiliation is spreading through social media like a virus, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I think about what Mom said, that some things can't be repaired. Maybe she's right. Maybe this marriage has been broken for longer than I want to admit, and last night was just the moment when the cracks finally showed. But if that's true, if this really is over, then I'm not going quietly. I'm not going to be the pitied husband, the cuckold, the guy everyone whispers about at parties. If Alicia wants to destroy our marriage for some factory worker with nice abs, that's her choice. But she's going to face the consequences of that choice. And so is he. I turn my phone back on and start making calls. First to a lawyer, not because I want a divorce, but because I need to know my options. Then to my brother in Chicago, who's been through his own messy split and can give me advice on what comes next. But the call I'm really looking forward to is the one I'm going to make to Dominic Reeves. Because if he thinks he can destroy my marriage without consequences, he's about to learn otherwise. Some things can't be repaired, but they can be replaced, and sometimes they can be avenged. The lawyer's office smells like leather and disappointment. Janet Morrison, Esquire, is a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s who's seen every variation of marital disaster the human heart can devise. She listens to my story without judgment, taking notes on a yellow legal pad while I explain about the affair, the Facebook post, and my wife's request for space. So you want to file for divorce? She asks when I'm done. I want to know my options. Well, Illinois is a no-fault state, so the affair doesn't impact property division or alimony. But it could affect spousal support if you can prove she's been spending marital assets on her boyfriend. What about the humiliation? The public embarrassment? Janet gives me a look that's both sympathetic and realistic. Hurt feelings aren't grounds for additional compensation, Mr. Martinez. I know that's not what you want to hear, but the law doesn't care about Facebook posts or neighborhood gossip. So she gets to destroy our marriage and walk away with half of everything? If you divorce, yes. That's how it works. I leave her office with a retainer agreement and a sick feeling in my stomach. The legal system might not care about humiliation, but I do. And if the courts won't give me justice, I'll have to find it somewhere else. I drive to the gym where I used to box in college. It's a grimy place in an industrial part of town, nothing like the fancy fitness centers where people like Dominic probably work out. But the owner, Mickey, is an old-school trainer who remembers me from my amateur days. Greg Martinez, he says when I walk in. Haven't seen you in 5 years? Something like that. I need to get back in shape, Mickey. And I need to hit something. Woman trouble? How'd you guess? Same reason 90% of guys come back to boxing. You want to fight or just work out your aggression? Both. Mickey sets me up with a membership and a training schedule. 3 days a week, heavy bag work, conditioning, sparring if I want it. By the time I leave, my hands are raw from hitting the bag, but my head is clearer than it's been since the party. Physical training is only part of what I need, though. If I'm going to war with Dominic Reeves, I need intelligence. I need to know his weaknesses, his vulnerabilities, his secrets. Everyone has them. I just need to find his. I start with social media. Dominic's Facebook profile is surprisingly open for someone having an affair. Lots of gym selfies, pictures of his truck, photos from bars and parties around town. He's not particularly bright, which works in my favor. Smart people are careful about what they share online. His Instagram is even more revealing. Stories about his workout routine, his weekend activities, his job at the packaging plant. And buried in the comments on his posts, I find something interesting. flirty exchanges with several different women, including some who are definitely not my wife. I screenshot everything, building a file on Dominic's digital life. Then I move to more traditional investigation. I park outside the plant where he works, noting his schedule, his habits, the beat-up Camaro he drives when his truck is in the shop. I follow him to his apartment complex, a rundown place on the wrong side of town where the parking lot is full of potholes and the mailboxes are held together with duct tape. It takes 3 days of surveillance to spot the pattern. Dominic's not just seeing my wife, he's juggling multiple women. I watch him meet a blonde at a coffee shop on Tuesday, take a brunette to dinner on Wednesday, and text constantly with someone who makes him smile like a teenager. The brunette looks familiar. It takes me a while to place her, but finally I remember. It's Jessica Chen, Susie's younger sister. The same Susie who's been covering for Alicia's affair, who's probably hosting their secret meetings right now. This is perfect. Better than perfect. It's poetic justice. I spend another week gathering evidence. Photos of Dominic with different women, screenshots of his flirty social media exchanges, records of his comings and goings. By the time I'm done, I have enough material to destroy his reputation and his relationships. But I don't want to just destroy him. I want to humiliate him the way he humiliated me. I want him to feel what it's like to be exposed, to have his private business become public entertainment. The plan comes to me while I'm at the gym, working the heavy bag and thinking about leverage. Dominic's weakness isn't just women, it's his ego. He's the kind of guy who needs to be seen as the alpha male, the tough guy, the one other men respect and women desire. Take that away, and you take away everything that makes him feel important. I start small. Anonymous tips to his various girlfriends, carefully worded to sound like concerned friends rather than vengeful husbands. Photos sent from burner email accounts, social media posts shared at strategic moments. I don't lie or fabricate anything. I just make sure the truth gets to the right people at the right times. The results are immediate and satisfying. Jessica stops returning his calls. The blonde blocks him on Instagram. His carefully constructed image as a ladies' man starts to crumble as word spreads through his social circle. But I'm just getting started. The gym where Dominic works out is one of those chain places with glass walls and mirrors everywhere, perfect for someone who wants to be seen. I join under a fake name, using a different credit card and address, and start showing up during his regular workout times. He doesn't recognize me at first. Why would he? I'm just another middle-aged guy trying to get in shape. But I recognize him, and I watch. I learn his routine, his favorite machines, his schedule, and I wait for the perfect opportunity. It comes on a Thursday evening when the gym is crowded with after-work athletes. Dominic's doing his usual peacock display, heavy weights, loud grunts, checking himself out in the mirrors between sets. He's drawn his usual audience of admirers, including a couple of women who giggle at his jokes and compliment his form. I wait until he goes to the locker room to change, then I make my move. The lock on his locker is a simple combination model, the kind you can pop with a paperclip if you know what you're doing. Inside, I find his wallet, his keys, and his phone. I don't take anything, but I do make some additions. When Dominic comes back from his shower, he finds his locker decorated. Photos of him with various women, including my wife, are taped to the inside of the door. But these aren't romantic photos. These are the screenshots from his social media, printed out and arranged to show his pattern of juggling multiple relationships. And written across the top in bright red marker, "Player gonna play." The crowd that gathers is everything I hoped for. Gym regulars, staff members, the women who were flirting with him 20 minutes earlier. They read the photos, put together the story, and start talking. Within minutes, Dominic goes from gym hero to gym joke. He tries to play it off, laughing and making jokes about crazy ex-girlfriends, but I can see the humiliation in his eyes. This is what I felt like at the Halloween party, watching everyone whisper and point and judge. Now it's his turn. But I'm not done with him yet. The next phase requires more planning and a bigger stage. I need something public, something that will reach beyond just the gym crowd. I need to hit him where it really hurts, his reputation in the community, where he's trying to steal my wife. The opportunity comes in the form of the annual Harvest Festival, a community event where local businesses set up booths and families come out for food, games, and entertainment. It's exactly the kind of wholesome, small-town gathering where reputations are made and destroyed. Dominic will be there. He volunteers every year with the volunteer fire department, helping with setup and security. It's one of the ways he maintains his image as a solid, dependable guy. The kind of man a married woman might think is better than her workaholic husband. I spend 2 weeks preparing for the festival. I print flyers, design banners, and create a social media campaign. But this isn't about promoting my restaurant or any legitimate business. This is about promoting the truth about Dominic Reeves. The night before the festival, I can't sleep. Not because I'm nervous. I'm past that now. I can't sleep because I'm excited. For the first time since the Halloween party, I feel like I'm in control of the situation instead of just reacting to it. My phone buzzes. A text from Alicia. "Can we talk? I miss you." I stare at the message for a long time. 2 weeks ago, those words would have filled me with hope. Now they just make me angry. She misses me. Where was that feeling when she was kissing Dominic on Richard's deck? Where was it when she packed her bags and moved in with her accomplice? I delete the message without responding. Tomorrow, she'll understand exactly how much her betrayal cost her, and so will everyone else. The festival starts at 10 a.m., but I'm there by 8, setting up my booth between the Lions Club funnel cake stand and the library's book sale. My banner reads, "Community Watch, Know Your Neighbors," and my table is covered with informational flyers about local safety issues. It looks completely legitimate, which is the point. No one questions why I'm there or what I'm doing. I'm just another concerned citizen doing my part for community awareness. Dominic arrives at 9:30 with the other fire department volunteers. He's wearing his official department t-shirt and his best good guy smile, ready to charm another generation of local families. He doesn't notice me at first. I'm just part of the background, another face in the crowd. The festival gets busy quickly. Families with strollers, teenagers looking for something to do, elderly couples enjoying the October sunshine. Perfect. The bigger the audience, the better. I wait until noon when the crowd is at its peak and Dominic is manning the fire safety booth with 2 other volunteers. Then I make my announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please?" I call out, using the microphone I borrowed from the festival organizers. I have some important community safety information to share. The crowd turns toward my booth, curious and attentive. This is it. The moment I've been planning for 2 weeks. We all want to keep our families and our marriages safe, I begin. But sometimes the biggest threats come from people we trust, people who seem like upstanding members of our community. I can see Dominic starting to look uncomfortable, though he doesn't understand why yet. For example, did you know that some of our local volunteers have been engaging in predatory behavior toward married women, using their positions of trust to break up families and destroy relationships? Now I have everyone's attention, including Dominic's. He's staring at me across the festival grounds, his face going pale as he starts to understand what's happening. "I have documentation," I continue, holding up a folder thick with printouts. Photos, text messages, social media posts. Evidence of systematic manipulation and adultery, all perpetrated by someone you might think you can trust with your family's safety. The crowd is murmuring now, looking around at each other, trying to figure out who I'm talking about. Some of them are starting to look toward the fire department booth, putting together the pieces. The person I'm talking about is Dominic Reeves, standing right over there in the fire department shirt. The same Dominic Reeves who's been having affairs with multiple married women in our community, including my own wife. The reaction is immediate and explosive. Gasps, whispers, heads turning toward Dominic like he's a car accident they can't look away from. Someone starts taking pictures with their phone. Someone else starts recording video. Dominic tries to leave, but the crowd has him surrounded now. People are asking questions, demanding answers, treating him like the spectacle he made of my marriage. "This is crazy," he shouts. "This guy's having a breakdown. Don't listen to him." But I'm ready for that response. I start handing out the flyers I prepared, each one containing screenshots of his social media flirtations, photos of him with different women, and a timeline of his relationship with my wife. "See for yourselves," I tell the crowd. "This is all public information, available to anyone who cares to look. I'm just making sure you have all the facts about the man you're trusting with community safety." The fire chief, a stern-looking man in his 60s, pushes through the crowd to confront Dominic. "Is this true, Reeves? Are you having an affair with this man's wife?" Dominic tries to deny it, but the evidence is overwhelming. And now people are sharing their own stories. Women who remember his inappropriate comments, men who noticed him flirting with their wives at community events. Within minutes, Dominic goes from respected volunteer to community pariah. The fire chief strips him of his volunteer credentials on the spot. The crowd disperses, but not before dozens of people have taken photos and videos that will be all over social media within the hour. I pack up my booth and leave the festival feeling lighter than I have in weeks. Phase 1 of my revenge is complete. Dominic's reputation is destroyed, his volunteer position is gone, and everyone in town knows exactly what kind of man he really is. But I'm still not done. Because the person who really deserves to face consequences is the one who betrayed 8 years of marriage for a few moments of excitement. It's time to deal with my wife. Alicia calls me that evening, her voice shaking with rage and something that might be fear. "What the hell did you do at the festival today?" I told the truth. Isn't that what you wanted? Honesty in our relationship? You humiliated him in front of the entire town. People are calling me, texting me, asking if it's true. My boss saw the videos online, Greg. My boss. Good. Maybe now you understand how I felt when that Facebook post went viral. This is different. This is cruel. Cruel. You want to talk about cruel? Cruel is finding out your wife is cheating from a social media post. Cruel is having neighbors text you pictures of your wife kissing another man. Cruel is being the last person to know that your marriage is a joke. She's quiet for a moment, and I can hear her crying. Part of me, the part that loved her for 8 years, wants to comfort her. But the larger part, the part that's been growing stronger since Halloween night, feels nothing but satisfaction. "I want to come home," she whispers. "I want to fix this." Now you want to come home? After 2 weeks of needing space to figure out your feelings? I made a mistake, Greg. A huge, terrible mistake. But we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can what? Pretend it never happened? Go back to playing house while everyone in town knows you cheated on me? People will forget. This will all blow over. Will it? Because I don't think Dominic's reputation is going to recover anytime soon, and yours is tied to his now, whether you like it or not. I can hear her breathing getting ragged, the way it does when she's having a panic attack. What do you want from me? What do I have to do to fix this? I don't know if you can fix this, Alicia. I don't know if I want you to. You're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. You should understand that actions have consequences, and that betraying someone who loves you isn't something you can just apologize away. I hang up before she can respond. My hands are shaking, but not from fear or sadness, from adrenaline, from the rush of finally being in control of the situation instead of just reacting to it. The festival videos are already making the rounds on social media. Someone created a hashtag, Nah Harvest Festival Drama, and the story is spreading beyond our small town. Local news outlets are starting to pick it up, framing it as a story about public shaming and social media vigilantism. I don't care. Let them analyze my methods. Let them debate whether I went too far. The important thing is that everyone now knows the truth about Dominic Reeves and my wife's affair. But the story is far from over. The next morning, I get a call from my restaurant's assistant manager, Jenny. "Boss, we have a problem. There are protesters outside." Protesters? About a dozen people with signs. Something about public shaming and vigilante justice. They're saying you went too far with that festival thing. I drive to the restaurant and find a small but vocal group of protesters on the sidewalk outside. Their signs read things like, "Shame on Greg," and "Harassment is not justice," and "Domestic disputes belong in court." Leading the group is Susie Chen, Alicia's best friend and accomplice. She's holding a megaphone and giving interviews to a local news crew. "Greg Martinez has crossed a line," she's saying into a reporter's microphone. "What he did at the festival was harassment, plain and simple. His wife made a mistake, but that doesn't give him the right to destroy people's lives in public." I park across the street and watch the circus for a few minutes. The protesters are getting attention, but not the kind they want. Most of the people stopping to watch seem more curious than sympathetic. A few are openly laughing at the signs. My phone rings. It's Richard. "Dude, what the hell is happening? I just saw the news." Susie's trying to make me look like the bad guy. "Are you the bad guy? Because that festival thing was pretty intense. Would you rather I just rolled over and accepted it? Let them make a fool of me and move on with their lives? I don't know, man. I get that you're angry, but this is getting out of hand. It got out of hand when my wife decided to cheat on me in public. I'm just evening the score. Greg, listen to yourself. This isn't you talking. This is anger talking. Maybe anger is exactly what I need right now." I hang up and cross the street toward the restaurant. The protesters see me coming and start chanting something about justice and harassment. Susie points her megaphone at me. "There he is, the man who thinks public humiliation is an appropriate response to marital problems." I stop in front of her, close enough that she has to lower the megaphone. "You want to talk about appropriate responses, Susie? Let's talk about how appropriate it was for you to help my wife cheat on me. Let's talk about how you covered for her, lied for her, encouraged her to destroy our marriage." "I didn't encourage anything. Alicia made her own choices." "Did she? Or did you and your friends convince her that she deserved better than a husband who works hard to provide for her? Did you tell her she was too good for me, that she should explore her options?" Susie's face goes red, and I know I've hit the target. "You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? I know you've been having girls' nights where you trash-talk your husbands and fantasize about other men. I know you've been playing matchmaker between my wife and Dominic. I know you offered to let her stay at your house so she could figure out her feelings." The crowd is listening now, and some of them are starting to look at Susie differently. The reporter is still recording, capturing every word. "And I know," I continue, raising my voice so everyone can hear, "that your own marriage isn't as perfect as you pretend. How long has your husband been working late, Susie? How long has he been finding excuses to avoid coming home to you?" Her face goes white. I've hit another nerve, maybe the biggest one. That's not true. Isn't it? When's the last time he took you out to dinner? When's the last time he looked at you the way Dominic looks at the women he's trying to seduce? She starts to cry, and suddenly the crowd's sympathy shifts. They're not seeing a victim of harassment anymore. They're seeing a woman whose own marriage is falling apart, taking her frustrations out on someone else. "Maybe instead of protesting my restaurant," I say, loud enough for the news cameras to pick up, "you should be having an honest conversation with your own husband about why he's been avoiding you." The protest breaks up after that. Susie's supporters drift away, embarrassed by the scene. The news crew packs up their equipment, having gotten a better story than they expected. Within an hour, the sidewalk is empty except for the usual lunch crowd. But I'm not done with Susie. Not even close. That evening, I pay a visit to her house. It's a modest two-story in an older neighborhood, with a well-maintained yard and a minivan in the driveway. The kind of place where people are supposed to live quiet, respectable lives. I don't knock on the front door. Instead, I go around to the backyard and set up the surprise I've been planning since the protest this morning. Susie's backyard faces 3 other houses, all of which have clear views of her patio and back windows. It's the perfect stage for a little public theater. I set up a projector and a portable screen, the kind people use for outdoor movie nights. But instead of showing a family-friendly film, I'm going to screen some very different entertainment. The footage I've compiled over the past week tells the story of Susie's marriage in excruciating detail. Her husband Dave leaving for work early and coming home late. Dave's car parked outside a bar across town 3 nights running. Dave having lunch with a woman who definitely isn't his wife. I've been following Dave the same way I followed Dominic, documenting his patterns and his secrets. Turns out Susie's perfect marriage is just as much of a facade as mine was. I wait until 9 p.m. when the neighboring families are settling in for the evening. Then I turn on the projector and start the show. The first image is a photo of Dave's car outside the Riverside Motel, time-stamped 3 days ago at 2:30 p.m. The second is Dave and his lunch companion holding hands across a restaurant table. The third is Dave kissing the same woman goodbye outside her apartment building. The neighbors notice quickly. Lights come on in the surrounding houses. People come out to their back porches to see what's happening. Someone calls Susie, because I can see her silhouette in her kitchen window, looking out at the screen in horror. She comes running outside in her bathrobe, screaming at me to stop, to turn off the projector, to leave her alone. But I'm not on her property, and the projector is loud enough that the whole neighborhood can hear her panic. "How does it feel?" I call out to her. "How does it feel to have your private business on display for everyone to see? You're insane. This is harassment. This is justice. You helped destroy my marriage, so now everyone gets to see the truth about yours." She tries to block the screen with her body, but that just makes the images project onto her instead. Photos of her husband's affair literally written across her chest and face while the neighbors watch and whisper. "Please," she sobs, "please stop. I have children." "So do I. Someday. Or I did, before your friend decided she wanted a different life." I let the slideshow run for another 10 minutes, making sure everyone in the neighborhood gets a good look at Dave's extracurricular activities. Then I pack up the equipment and leave Susie standing in her backyard, surrounded by neighbors who now know exactly what kind of marriage she's been hiding behind her perfect facade. The story makes the local news again the next morning. Revenge Projector becomes the new hashtag, and suddenly I'm getting interview requests from news outlets across the state. Some want to condemn my methods, others want to celebrate them. All of them want to know what I'm going to do next. I don't tell them, but I know exactly what comes next. It's time to deal with my wife. Alicia calls me that afternoon, hysterical. "You have to stop this. Susie's kids are being bullied at school because of what you did. Her husband moved out this morning. You're destroying innocent people." "Innocent? Susie helped you cheat on me. She covered for your affair and encouraged you to leave me. How is that innocent?" "She was being a friend. She was being an accomplice, and now she's facing the consequences of that choice." "This has gone too far, Greg. You need help. You need to see someone, talk to someone about this anger." "I'm not angry anymore, Alicia. I'm focused. There's a difference." "Focused on what? Destroying everyone who ever crossed you?" "Focused on making sure everyone understands that actions have consequences, that you can't just betray people and walk away without paying a price." "What price? What do you want from me?" "I want you to understand what you've lost. I want you to feel the weight of what you threw away for a few moments of excitement with a factory worker." "I know what I lost. I know I made a terrible mistake." "Do you? Because I don't think you do. I think you still see this as something that can be fixed with apologies and counseling and time. I think you still believe you can have your cake and eat it too." "What does that mean?" "It means tomorrow night, you're going to find out exactly what your choices have cost you." "Greg, what are you planning?" but I've already hung up. Tomorrow is Halloween again. 1 year since this all started, and I have one final surprise planned for my wife. The biggest surprise of all. Halloween night, 1 year later. The irony isn't lost on me as I stand in front of my bathroom mirror, adjusting my costume. Last year I was Batman, the hero who always wins in the end. Tonight, I'm dressed as the Joker, the villain who burns the world down just to watch it burn. The costume is perfect. Purple suit, white face paint, green hair, and a smile that promises chaos. When I look in the mirror, I barely recognize myself. The man staring back at me is someone who's been pushed too far and decided to push back twice as hard. My phone buzzes. A text from Richard. "Dude, please tell me you're not planning anything crazy tonight. The whole town is watching you." He's not wrong. After the festival incident and the projector show at Susie's house, I've become something of a local celebrity. Some people think I'm a hero standing up to cheaters and homewreckers. Others think I'm an unhinged stalker who's gone too far. Everyone has an opinion about Greg Martinez and his very public revenge campaign. I don't respond to Richard's text. Instead, I grab the box I've been preparing for the past week and head out to my car. Tonight's venue is the same place where this all started, Richard's house, where he's throwing another Halloween party, where my wife first kissed another man while I watched through a window, powerless and humiliated. Tonight, I won't be powerless. The party is already in full swing when I arrive. Cars line the street, and I can see costumed figures through Richard's windows. Superheroes and monsters, princesses and pirates, all the usual suspects. But there's a tension in the air that wasn't there last year. People are whispering, pointing, watching to see what the crazy guy in the Joker costume is going to do. I park across the street and sit in my car for a moment, watching the party. Through the front window, I can see Alicia. She's dressed as Wonder Woman this year. How's that for irony? And she looks beautiful and sad and nervous all at once. She keeps checking her phone, probably hoping I'll text her back, probably dreading whatever I have planned. Dominic isn't here. After the festival incident, he left town. Moved to another state, according to the rumors. His reputation was so thoroughly destroyed that he couldn't show his face anywhere in the county. The fire department incident made national news, and he became a cautionary tale about the dangers of social media shaming. Mission accomplished on that front. But Dominic was never the real target. He was just a symptom of the disease that had infected my marriage. The real problem was my wife, who threw away 8 years of love and commitment for a few moments of excitement with a stranger. I grab my box and walk toward Richard's front door. The conversations stop as I pass. People step aside, watching me with a mixture of curiosity and fear. I've become unpredictable, dangerous, the kind of person who might do anything. They're not wrong. Richard meets me at the door, his face pale beneath his vampire makeup. "Greg, man, I don't think this is a good idea." "Relax, Rich. I'm just here for the party." "Are you?" "Because Alicia's been crying all day, and half the people here are afraid of what you might do." "What am I going to do? It's a Halloween party. I'm in costume. I brought party favors." I hold up the box. Everything's perfectly normal. But we both know nothing about this situation is normal. Richard steps aside reluctantly, and I walk into the party that started my journey from victim to villain. The room goes quiet when I enter. Conversations stop mid-sentence. People turn to stare at the man in the Joker costume, wondering what kind of chaos he's brought with him this time. I spot Alicia across the room, standing with a group of women who used to be her friends. Used to be, because most of them have distanced themselves since the affair became public knowledge. Adultery is contagious in small towns. Nobody wants to be associated with it in case it reflects on their own marriages. She sees me and her face goes white. She starts walking toward me, and I can see her hands shaking. "Greg," she says when she reaches me, "you came. Wouldn't miss it. This is where it all started, after all. We need to talk." "We will. But first I have something for everyone." I hold up the box. Party favors. What's in there? Surprises. I walk to the center of the room and set the box on Richard's coffee table. The party guests gather around, curious despite their fear. This is better than any horror movie. Real-life drama unfolding in front of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce, my voice carrying the theatrical tone I've been practicing. Thank you all for coming tonight, especially those of you who were here last year, when this whole adventure began. I can see people pulling out their phones, getting ready to record whatever happens next. Good. I want this documented. I want it preserved for posterity. Last year, I came to this party as Batman, the hero, the good guy who always does the right thing, who follows the rules, who trusts that justice will prevail. I gesture to my Joker costume. This year, as you can see, I've had a change of perspective. Greg, please, Alicia whispers. Don't do this. Do what? Share some party favors? Open some presents? It's Halloween, Allie. Time for tricks and treats. I open the box and pull out the first item, a thick manila folder. This, I announce to the room, contains the complete documentation of my wife's affair. Text messages, photos, hotel receipts, restaurant bills, everything she thought was private and secret, all laid out in chronological order. Gasps from the crowd. Someone starts recording with their phone. Alicia looks like she might faint. But that's not the interesting part, I continue. The interesting part is what else I found while I was investigating my wife's betrayal. I pull out a second folder, this one even thicker. It turns out adultery is like a virus in small communities. Once it starts spreading, it infects everyone it touches. So I started looking into the marriages of everyone who knew about my wife's affair and said nothing. Everyone who covered for her, who encouraged her, who helped her lie to me. The room is silent now. I can see people looking at each other nervously, wondering what secrets I've uncovered. Susie Chen, for example. I pull out a set of photographs showing Susie's husband with his mistress. Everyone already knows about Dave's affair, thanks to my little slideshow last week. But did you know that Susie knew about it for months? She was cheating on her cheater, having her own affair with her personal trainer. I toss the photos on the coffee table. Someone gasps. Someone else starts whispering. Then there's Linda Henderson. More photos, these showing Linda in a compromising position with someone who definitely isn't her husband. Turns out all those late-night book club meetings weren't about discussing literature. I continue pulling items from the box, each one revealing another secret affair, another broken marriage, another lie that's been hiding behind a facade of suburban respectability. By the time I'm done, half the marriages in the room have been exposed as frauds. The funny thing is, I say, looking around at the shocked faces, everyone knew about everyone else's affairs. You were all keeping each other's secrets, covering for each other's betrayals. Like a little club of liars and cheaters, all protecting each other from the consequences of your choices. Stop, Alicia sobs. Please, just stop. Stop? But I haven't gotten to the best part yet. I reach into the box one last time and pull out a legal document. Divorce papers, I announce. Filed this morning, citing irreconcilable differences and adultery. My lawyer assures me that with all the evidence I've gathered, the settlement will be very much in my favor. Alicia stares at the papers. But here's the thing, Allie. Remember what you said to me a few weeks ago. You said you wanted to see if I would beg. You wanted to test me, to see how much I needed you. I hold out the divorce papers toward her. Well, here's your answer. I'm not begging. I'm not fighting for you. I'm not trying to win you back. I'm setting you free to be with whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want. I don't want to be free, she whispers. I want to come home. Too late for that. You made your choice last Halloween when you decided to kiss another man at a party full of our friends and neighbors. You made it again when you moved out to find yourself. And you made it every day since then when you chose to stay away instead of fighting for our marriage. The room is watching us like we're actors in a play, which I suppose we are. The final act of a tragedy that started with a costume party and a moment of weakness. "I love you," she says, tears streaming down her face. "No, you don't. You love the idea of me. You love having a safety net, someone to fall back on when your adventures don't work out the way you planned. But you don't love me enough to be faithful to me. You don't love me enough to choose me over excitement and novelty and the thrill of being desired by someone new." I set the divorce papers on the coffee table next to all the evidence of betrayal and broken promises. "So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign these papers. You're going to take your half of our assets and start over somewhere else. And you're going to live with the knowledge that you threw away something real for something that was never going to last." "What about you?" she asks. "What are you going to do?" I smile, and it's not a nice smile. It's the Joker's smile, wide and sharp and full of dark promise. Me? I'm going to be fine, better than fine. I'm going to take everything I learned from this experience and use it to build something new. Something better. Something that can't be destroyed by weakness or temptation or the selfish desires of people who don't understand the value of commitment. I look around the room at all the shocked faces, all the people whose secrets I've exposed, whose comfortable lies I've shattered. As for the rest of you, consider this a public service announcement. Your secrets aren't as secret as you think. Your lies aren't as convincing as you believe, and your actions have consequences, even when you think nobody's watching. I pick up the box, now empty except for the divorce papers. Especially when you think nobody's watching. I start to leave, then turn back for one final moment. "Oh, and Ali? That friend of yours who advised you to tell me you wanted a divorce and see if I would beg? You might want to ask her how her own marriage is doing. I hear her husband filed for separation yesterday." The look on her face tells me she knows exactly which friend I'm talking about. I walk out of Richard's house and into the Halloween night, leaving behind the wreckage of multiple marriages and the shocked silence of people who thought they could lie and cheat and betray without consequences. Behind me, I can hear crying, shouting, the sound of relationships exploding in real time. But I don't look back. I'm done with that part of my life, done with the people who thought they could use me and discard me and face no repercussions. I get in my car and drive away from the party, from the neighborhood, from the life I used to have. In my rearview mirror, I can see people spilling out of Richard's house, some crying, some arguing, some just standing in shock as they process what just happened. Tomorrow, the story will be all over social media. The news outlets will pick it up. There will be debates about privacy and revenge and whether I went too far. Some people will call me a hero, others will call me a monster. They'll both be right. But tonight, as I drive through the dark streets of a town that will never look at marriage the same way again, I feel something I haven't felt in a year. Peace, justice, victory. My wife wanted to see if I would beg when she threatened divorce. Instead, I handed her the papers and walked away with my dignity intact and my revenge complete. That's when she started to panic. But it was too late. The costume party was over and everyone had finally seen what was hiding behind the masks.